there's really a lot of power in collaboration. And if you're really going to go far, the teamwork makes the dream work, as they say.
Hey there. Thank you for waking up with Happy Ass, where we come together to grow mind, body, and spirit so we can in turn go out and make the world a brighter and sweeter place for others. I'm so glad you're here. And this is like a super special day, kind of a different kind of day, where my producer is sitting here with me, Ashley Feller. So, I told her, I said, who's going to tell us what to do? Because nobody's behind the camera now. Just us girls.
Right.
Sitting on the couch, chilling.
Yeah, this is so much fun. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. This is a weird role for you because, you're usually the number one producing them, but you started with your podcast, Sunshine. I always get the name wrong.
I started with the St. Andrews Jezebel podcast and expanded to Sunshine State Showcase.
That's what I was thinking, Sunshine State Showcase, which branched you out a little bit further. And I'm going to go ahead and go here. So this is the thing. We're going to be interviewing each other. So this is not one way. She's going to be asking me questions too. So I remember when you did the Jezebel podcast, which I loved it, and I loved the name, but did you get some pushback from some people thinking it should be named Jezebel because who Jezebel is,
Very little.
Yeah.
Very little, but the ones who really didn't like it. And a lot of it was just a lot of folks didn't quite catch the joke. That was more so the reason for rebranding. But having a name like Happy Ass, has that happened to you?
Absolutely happens to me. I had one lady write me it was sweet, an email. And she said she really liked what I was doing. She liked my podcast. She liked my blog. But she really felt like I should be a little more thoughtful in the name that I chose. And a few people even well-meaning, usually church people. I go to church myself, but have said, maybe you should think of a different name. But it just fits me, and until God tells me to change it, I'm not changing it.
Now, is that a nickname that was given to you, or one that you came up with for yourself? And how did that come to be?
Yeah, it was a nickname. My kids and other people call me Happy Ass. They go, "You're just such a happy ass," and I always thought, I don't know why, but I thought, gosh, I need to have a happy ass brand of clothing, like a happy ass brand. So I just decided to make myself happy ass. And people laugh when I say it. And that's the whole point. It makes people happy, so.
I think so too, because it's such a uniquely Southern colloquialism, because we say that in the South.
All the time.
Yeah.
Happy ass. We say dumb ass too, but smart ass.
Yep.
Come to think of it, we have a lot of words that as the word comes before ass, but yeah. And I think it's cute and funny and happy, but some people don't like it. So just like some people didn't like Jezebel, but I love Jezebel.
Thank you.
It made me smile.
Good. Thank you.
Made me smile. So does this feel weird to be on this side of the camera?
It does, because full transparency, and maybe I'll take this out later, maybe I won't, but I'm just praying that all the cameras stay on. And I'm sure I'll get up and check.
Yeah, that's right. That's funny, because with the beautiful art of editing, we can stop and start, which is really cool. But as we talked about, it's been hard for me. It's been hard for me trying this new way of doing things. But I was going to ask you some questions, and I'm going to flip, and I'm going to tell you to ask me some questions. It's whatever. We're just kind of having a conversation together. But I heard something this morning that really got my goat going. I was hearing Seth Godin talk.
Yeah.
I love Seth Godin.
Me too.
Love him. He is that's how I do my marketing. It's about empathy. It's about loving others. It's about your soul print.
Yeah.
It's about how you make people feel when you leave the room. That's your marketing. That's it. So he said, marketing is a reflection of who you are and what you say and how you live your life and how you create an experience for other people. What do you think about that statement?
I think that's a wonderful way to be rooted, because, there's that saying, folks will forget, what you might have done, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And marketing is our voice as a brand. Mm-hmm. That's the vessel of which we communicate to. And I'm a fan of using the word community over audience or customers.
Yeah. Yes. I don't like customers. That sounds like I'm trying to sell you something.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you say? The other thing, brand?
Community, brand voice to speak to your community.
Yes, community. I love the idea of community because that's always been my thing in giving back to my community. And my community is really all my brothers and sisters who want to be a part of my community.
Yes.
You know, that's what I feel. So I love that. It says, and one thing that I added to it, I wrote down here that I feel like marketing should be your soul print. It should be that feeling you give other people. Again, after you've left the room. It's not just like papers and logos and stuff like that. When you think about marketing, what do you think of?
I think
other than community is it?
I think one of the best ways to imprint your soul print is through storytelling. I think that when you can walk into a room and command that room by telling a story that makes those people feel at home and identify with whatever your pain point was and not make them feel like they're, in a transactional action, then you've really done something because who doesn't love a good story?
I want to get better at that. That's one of the things I want to get better at, and you've helped me so much. And when did you start producing with me?
I'm going to say it feels like 2.5 years ago now.
Wow.
And I'm so grateful because really you're the person that put me in business. Yes.
Oh, I did?
Yes. You're my very first one.
So when you're big and famous and like super important, I was like, I put in business.
Yes.
I can say that?
Yes.
Oh, that makes me so happy. But we were connected because of my daughter. My daughter connected. She is such, you talk about community. Talk about a connector. She is a connector. And she connected you and I. But so I've asked you a few questions. Ask me something. Do you think it's something you want to talk about?
Absolutely. So when did you come to the moment when you decided that you wanted to repurpose the format of your live stream? Because you've been doing the live stream longer, and while some people could call that a podcast, it really wasn't archival because after 30 days on Facebook, it deletes the video.
Right.
And what if you live on the other side of the road where you just can't see it? So at what moment did you decide that I need some help to make this a little more sustainable?
It's weird. Like I'm always jealous of other people that are talented with like musical and theatrical and art wise. And I don't have those talents. So really I always tease that my only talent is loving people and making people feel better about themselves. So when I was doing the podcast every day, all I thought about, I never even looked at the metrics. Ever, never, never. I still don't look at the metrics. I have no idea. Every now and then you tell me what's going on. I go, oh, that's cool. But for the longest time, Facebook didn't do that. It just stayed there. But then they stopped doing the 30 days. That did start to bother me. But I knew I wanted it to reach more people. And I actually, to be honest with you, Britt just said to me one day, she said, I know you want to go further with your podcast. I know you want to do more with it. You need to meet Ashley. So really, that's somebody else saw something to me. Then you saw something to me. And then we started doing it. And I was telling someone that we did a broadcast this morning with Jason Eden. And I was telling him that I'm real good. This is one of my talents. I'm really smart at knowing what I don't know. And so I'd rather trust people who are better than me. So I think that's number one. And you also asked me why did I move from the daily format or the
Actually, we'll lead into that.
Yeah.
So let's catch us up till now. We've been through an evolution, you and I, in this podcast adventure. We started out as audio only.
Yeah.
And then we went to video this past January in 2024. And just in August, we've gone to a whole other format, which is doing live and in-person production where I come to you with all the things and we set up in various locations. And let's talk a little bit about that. I know that Jen had Dr. Jen Berg had a major role in it.
She did, which is kind of funny because see, Jennifer is my fitness coach, my nutrition coach. But which is funny, when we had that podcast together, we didn't talk hardly anything about nutrition. We talked more about what it feels like to have a coach. So when you're in a coaching situation, when you have a coach, they're trying to get the best out of you. Well, yes, it was about fitness and exercise and stuff like that. But so much about your life holds you back from everything. It's not just what you're eating or how you exercise. It's what's internally in you. And she saw that I was like overwhelmed with raising the kids, trying to run this big business, trying to do happy ass. And she's Karen, something's got to give. Something's got to give. And she mentioned to me a long time ago, you really need to stop doing your podcast daily. You just can't keep doing that. And you're only going to you're going to reach a small audience. You're not going to reach the intended audience if you don't do something different. So first time she said, I said, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. So I went to her again and we talked again about why I was in a standstill in my goals and what was holding me back. What was holding me back was I was trying to fit a pound of something in a pint jar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I finally just took the leap, and you gave me the courage to do it this way, which is hard. It's easier as far as time goes, but it's harder.
Oh,
It's going to
absolutely.
be more productive though. Yeah.
And what are you most excited about for folks to see for the new format, the latest edition, if you will?
Well, I'm excited because I'm guest. That's fun.
Yeah.
That takes all the pressure from me, and I can share other people's stories and their adventures and misadventures. But I think the other thing is I have big dreams for my happy ass life. I have really bad. I want this brand to be a huge brand, not because I want to be a big brand. I want happy ass to be a big thing. I want people to know that they can do more, be better, strive more, love more, be more kind. And I think it's going to give me a much bigger audience to do this. I want to finally finish writing my books. So this is a platform. And one day, this is all I'm going to do. One day I won't be selling real estate. One day I'll leave that to other people to do. But this is something I want to do for the rest of my life. This is the last quarter of my life. This is what I want to spend my life doing.
I love that so much. So let's get to the root of it. What is your why? Why do you want to do this?
Okay. One of my whys, or my big, big why, is when I read books that people have written, I end up getting the belief that I can do anything because other people have done it. Same way on podcasts. I am a podcast junkie. I listen to a lot of podcasts and I want to be a difference maker. I really, really do. And I know it sounds so trite. It's in my little tagline, but that tagline came from something that I believe in my heart to be true, that I really, really do want to make life brighter and sweeter for myself and for others. And this is the vehicle I want to use to do it. It's so much fun. And I'm a big researcher. I love to research. I love to study. I love to read. So this encompasses all of it. So that's my big why.
I love that. And that's a great reason to want to do it. When you think about, we think about the little struggles we might have in our day. There's someone else where they're trying to feed themselves. They're trying to get through their day. They've got sick children. Maybe they live in a country that doesn't have resources. And I catch myself sometimes to think, what are you complaining about?
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
I try to as well, at least do one thing a day that makes someone smile. So I commend you for making that your platform, and the center of so much of what you do is to make life brighter and sweeter, because we only have so long to live.
We do. And I know that I've been struggling lately, and Jen, encouraged me to be more vulnerable in my struggles. Because this is the thing. When you watch a podcast called My Happy Ass Life, you think, well, she's just a happy ass. Nothing happens to her. No struggles. I got a lot of struggle, a lot of trials, but I'm just trying to find the happy in the sad and the good and the bad and all the things. And I have a lot of faith. I have a lot of faith that God intends for me to have a beautiful, robust life. And so I try to do that. And, I don't know. I'm real excited about it. And I tell you, they always say that silly thing about if you could just do something for free, do something you would do for free. Well, guess what? I did My Happy Ass Life for free.
Absolutely.
For 4.5 years.
Yeah.
And I finally started getting sponsors and stuff like that. And I know this is kind of early in the thing, but I'm going to thank.
No, let's go for it.
I want to thank Beachy Beach Real Estate, who has believed in me from the get-go. Of course, that's my company, but I also had partners who believe in me and want me to do this. And then Brian Yormack is with Baytax, and he is a company who teaches tax strategies for businesses and people to save you lots of money on taxes. Who doesn't like to save money on taxes? Is there anybody in the world? Name me one person that don't want to save on the taxes. There ain't nobody.
No.
Yeah. So Brian Yormack with Baytax, and then my sweet, sweet friend Kitty Stewart with Powered by Edge, the Dream Team, and she is a mortgage broker, and she can, because she's on a bank, she's not bound by just what the bank can do. She can go out and do all kinds of loans. But the truth be told, the reason I asked Kitty to be a sponsor, and she wanted to, because she wanted to support what I was doing in my happy ass life. So, and I'm actually looking for other sponsors. I want a few more sponsors, because people don't think this costs money to do this, but it does.
Absolutely.
The way I do it, because I don't have time to do all the things, the technical things that you do. I mean, you spend a lot of time setting up, then editing, and then doing all those things. So I'm going to ask you a question. What is your favorite part about being a podcast producer?
It's helping the people that I help get their message out to the world in whatever way possible. Sometimes it goes really smooth. Other times it doesn't. And I really take pride in taking maybe footage from a few different cameras or a few different audio sources and marrying them together to make something that is digestible. And I tend to have the philosophy of make art, not content. So I have a way of thinking of my happy ass life and the other shows that I work on as an art piece for the most part. So I would say that that's my favorite part. From a technical side, I love editing. There's something methodical about it. Like, it's relaxing. I sit down, I look at those waves, and it's like a puzzle. That's fun for me.
That is so weird. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I love, 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 love. And that's going to prompt me to a question I'm going to ask you in a minute. So I love the fact, even though I envy it sometimes, like every now and then I hear my daughters sing, I hear you sing, and I go, why can't I sing? I can't even sing at all. I mean, at all. Can't. Not even by myself. I embarrass myself. And I'm not an artist. I did used to do art, but I'm not really an artist. And I'm not an actor or an actress. I don't have any of those talents. And those kind of things, like you're talking about, that's foreign to me. So every now and then, I want to do what y'all do. But this is the thing that I believe with all my heart. God graces each of us with our certain abilities and our certain gifts. And then he kind of expects us to use them.
Yes.
But he doesn't expect me to use your gifts. That's for you to use. So I was listening the other day to, what was the guy? He has Mosaic Church. Can't think of his name right now. I will in a minute. But he was talking about grace, about God giving each of us our own graces. And we get the grace we need for the moment, the grace we need for the task, and all those things. But we only get our grace. We don't get somebody else's. So I wrote this down, and it says, it does not work when I try to pass on to others what God did not give me. So if I'm trying to teach somebody or share with somebody something that I really don't possess, it's not effective. So what do you think about that? I mean, what do you think about we each having our own grace to do something special? And how if we try to be inauthentic and pass on that which we don't really know about, give me some thoughts around those thoughts.
I think that we should all show ourselves a lot more grace. And I think that I heard Kevin Elliott say something kind of along these lines a while back, is that there's really a lot of power in collaboration. And if you're really going to go far, the teamwork makes the dream work, as they say. So I think it's important to, if maybe you don't have that grace or gift within yourself, to align yourself with the kind of people that you feel that, you can benefit them and they can benefit you.
That is so cool. I agree with that 100%. And I had so much fun doing this with you because I relate to this. So when I was a little girl, you know how if you have a relationship with your mom and your dad, sometimes if you're afraid in a situation, just being in their presence makes you unafraid. That's how I feel about you doing this podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not afraid.
I love
It's
that.
like having my mama or my daddy in the dark. You, because of your confidence, without being arrogant, you're not cocky at all. You're not cocky or arrogant or know it all, or either you just want to learn, you want to grow, you want to share. And I'm just really drawn to those kind of people. And so you make me when you're behind that camera, I'm so comfortable. I feel safe and like the conversation just goes so easy. So I don't know. And I'm going to ask you a question. So what do you think I have the hardest time with how we change the format? So what do you think I'm having the worst time with internally or myself?
I think that you are really well suited for what we call in the biz live to drive, which means you just turn on that camera and go, and you are fantastic at it. But because of logistics and arranging guests, this is something you may not know if you don't have a podcast. Wrangling people, even people you love, is hard, especially these busy creative people. And that's part of where grace comes in. You got to show yourself grace and then grace.
Yeah.
And I would say probably the biggest challenge is, finding that balance between the live to drive, the energy that you give those kind of videos, and also having to meet the needs of what the new show is.
Yeah.
And that just takes practice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm not giving up. I mean, I've been frustrated.
Yeah.
I mean, I have been frustrated. But I'm not giving up. Because I really believe in what we're doing. I'm excited about it. But it is different. It is different. But I think it's going to be better.
This is only our first round. Yeah.
No, first season. So we're going to call this, since it's 4.5 years, what season is this? We're going to call this the season 5?
Actually, we're going to season 4.
Oh, this season 4?
This is season 4.
Okay, season 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's because the other ones didn't really have a season, as so to say. Right? Okay. Gotcha. Interesting. Okay, I got another question for you. Another statement.
Okay.
Okay. I read this. Most things arrive in a package that we weren't expecting. When does that happen to you in your life?
Oh my goodness. This, I wasn't expecting, before I started producing podcasts, I also do marketing for music festivals. I was a broke musician, still in the line away as a broke musician.
Those go together, don't they?
They do. And I just really thought that was how I was going to live my whole life until I was playing upstairs in a real estate open house. I was all by myself. There was nobody up there. People maybe came up and waved and disappeared back to where the food was just to be nice.
Yeah.
And I came down and I was sweating. I was carrying my stuff down, and there was Britt at the bottom of the stairs. And we just had the warmest conversation. And it didn't happen right away, but eventually that led to me meeting you and we going on to producing the podcast. And so I never would have thought that day that I went and took that real estate gig, that I would have met Britt, which would have led me meeting you.
Isn't that cool?
Yes.
So you never know when there's going to be an opportunity for you.
No, I thought it was just an ordinary gig. In fact, it was a really chancy gig because it was one of those online, a blind job. You show up and you do it, and then somehow you get paid.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool. But like I said before, my daughter's just a super good connector of people, and she connected me to you and you to me. And it's just been, since that first day, I immediately said, oh my gosh, this girl can help me. And it's been such a blessing. So the other thing, so I love that little thing. Most things arrive in a package you're not expecting. But I heard this too, and this one really got me. Then I'll let you ask me a question.
Yeah.
I get so excited asking her questions. Difficult times can define, diminish us, or develop us. What do you think about that statement? Difficult times can define us, diminish us, or develop us.
I think it does all three.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I don't think you can even have one without the other, because what's the saying? Diamonds are formed under pressure, but look at that beautiful diamond you get. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think about, and the thing about difficulty, like the diamonds and stuff like that, is nobody wants difficulty.
Right.
But you got to have it to develop. You got to go through the rough parts, just like doing this the different way. And I got to go through all the rough spots to get to the good stuff.
And on my side too, because full disclosure, folks, up until, the shift we've made, I have never brought a camera and lights and mics and all the things to a set and made a set.
You should see this bunch.
Oh yeah. I just been, in a more role where I got a file and then I prettied it up and then I published it. So to be truthful, I was pretty stressed, with the logistics of setting up all the things. You've invested in some equipment, the mics and some lighting and some stands. And I've also invested in some equipment and, that's been a big part of it.
See, and that's people really, seriously, like I said, I got the sponsors now, which is, gosh, a blessing. Because these things cost money and time and all these things like that. So yeah, I'm thankful that we're doing it this way now, but also a little, it's kind of funny. Here I was saying that I'm not scared because I feel comfortable and you're saying you were scared.
You have no idea.
I love it. That's so funny. I love how life is. Okay. What you got for me?
Awesome. So one of the approaches that we have taken in recording my happy ass life this way is we have made an attempt to batch create, which means that we record a whole bunch of episodes in a certain amount of time and then we release them later. And that can be really relieving. So we're about to have, a several week break, at least you are. And what are you going to do on your break?
Oh, there is no break in this world. I mean, I am going to get caught up on all the other things. My home is a disaster, just a disaster. And I've just kind of given up. I've just kind of given up on life on the home. So I want to get my home together. There's things I want to do in my yard. I really, really got to get that book written. I really promised myself that I would not this is what happened to me. I keep thinking, I want to finish my affirmations book. I go, but do I want to do my love letter book? Or do I want to my other book about my life? I mean, I want to finish at least one of my books. I want to get one book finished. That's what I'm hoping to do with myself.
Aside from, the thing that is the obvious thing to me is you run a big, busy company. You are a busy lady,
right?
And you're taking care of young children right now. Aside from those things, I know those are a big part of it. What do you think is holding you back?
Well, that's a whole podcast right there. I can say that it's my time. I can say I don't have the time. But notice I find time to play golf. I find time to go to Will Thompson's 80s review. I mean, I find the time for other things. I think I'm afraid. I think I'm embarrassed. I think I'm scared. I think I won't be smart enough. I think everybody's done all the things that I don't want you to ever say because I don't truly believe that at my core, but something keeps stopping me. I think I'm using all these other excuses, A lot of it's I don't know what I'm doing, but hey, that's never stopped me before.
Right.
People always show up to help you, always. So I think that's the big thing for me. And I'm really scouring. So again, I started my love notebook. I just was compiling all my love notes I've written over the years to my office. And I still want that to be a book. And then I've also got my affirmations book, which is half finished, maybe a little more than half finished. And then also in my head, I've started writing a book about codependency and my life in an alcoholic family and still dealing with alcoholism, drug addiction all around me, So yeah, that's a lot.
I think all of those would give so much value to your community, but more especially the one about codependency, because that is something that a lot of people, it's a constant in their life and they're responding from trauma They end up, in relationships with people who are not good for them because they're looking for safety and they are looking to heal themselves. And what would you say to someone who is in a codependent, dangerous relationship and they need to get out?
Yeah, one of the well, first, get out, because you can always repair and go back if that happens.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't fix it in the middle of it.
No.
Especially if it's a dangerous situation. But for me, I have great respect for 12-step programs. You don't really supposed to promote them, but AA and Al-Anon are just an amazing 12-step programs. Al-Anon for me, because that's for the families of the addicts and alcoholics. And, so that's an amazing program. There are codependent things, but I will tell you, the one book that I read that smacked me upside the head was Codependent No More. And I read that book when I was dating my beautiful, precious keeper husband, Hugh Smith. And he had mentioned to me several times, maybe you should go to Al-Anon. Maybe because he saw that I had these tendencies, these codependent tendencies where I would be so wrapped up in other people's feelings and lives that I would neglect my own. I still can do that. I have to really force myself not to do that. I'll really stay with it. But I would say 12-step program, therapy for sure. But it's not something that's going to fix itself on its own. And it will not stay fixed if you don't stay with it. It's like a self-guided missile. I mean, they'll just say, if you don't stay with it. So I have to really stay on top of it, have to read the books. I'm encouraged to change. It's an Al-Anon book. I journal. It's very important. It will change your life. And I still get caught in it. And you especially get that way when you grow up in drug addiction, alcoholism, What are your thoughts? Have you ever had experience with codependency? Has it ever been something that you've dealt with?
Oh, absolutely. I was in a very dangerous relationship for about 5 years.
Wow.
I lived in a Ford Aerostar with someone who had it's so hard to explain if you've never been in it, but complete control of my mental state, my financial state, the food I ate, the places I went. The word that comes to mind is hostage. Mm-hmm. And if it weren't for my family seeing that this is taking a violent turn and stepping in, I could, either still be with that person or even worse.
It's so hard. I know when I was younger, I've never been one to be anxious or have anxiety or stuff. So to be honest with you, when I would see people that were anxious or had anxiety, or people that were in those kind of relationships, like, fuck up, buttercup, just make a decision. That is so easy to say if you've never been there, because the mind is a powerful, powerful thing. Mind, body connection, all those things. So until you've experienced it, you don't know how easy it is to get trapped in those kind of things. And that's why cults and
exactly mind control,
they really get you. And it's so hard to imagine, because I'm sure you've seen friends that are in these horrible, toxic relationships. And when you see them without that person, they're vivacious, they're energetic, they're smart. They're with that person that holds them back, and they're a completely different person. That's sad. It's heartbreaking, but it happens. So I think I'll be working on that the rest of my life. I've never been in what I felt was a dangerous relationship. I have very much been in a healthy relationship. So you got caught in a relationship that was very codependent and somewhat dangerous and toxic and that kind of thing. And you said sometimes that's hard to talk about, but and I just did a vlog, and I was very vulnerable about how I was feeling and how overwhelmed I was and stuff like that. And she said, way to go, Karen, way to go, because you were finally very, very honest, because I didn't want people to think that I'm just this one happy bubble that has nothing else. Because it's when we reveal our truth, we share it, you give someone else permission to be courageous too.
Yes.
So, how do you feel about that?
I feel that that's true, but it takes time, and everyone has their timeline. Like even now, I just told you a moment ago, I've never talked about that before. And that's because there's still a little part of me, although I know that person is probably likely gone from my life, I still have the fear of the biggest fear ever that they could come back and hurt me.
And I don't know about you, I always get the embarrassment is a weird thing for me. I notice people can do certain things and say certain things and be in certain things, and they don't seem to get embarrassed. It must be from my childhood, but I don't like to be embarrassed.
Right.
I really have a hard time with embarrassment. So for me, I'm embarrassed sometimes to share those kind of things with people. But I realize that oh my gosh, if we could see inside all of our heads and brains, we'd all be cuckoo, you know? And I think it's important when we're honest with people because it helps people.
Yes.
You know, it helps other people be brave. So that's cool that you said that. That's super cool. Britt's pretty vocal about things like that. She's pretty vocal about mental health and stuff like that. And, you know, that's something I want to talk to you about. I've been very aware of another girl just recently. I didn't know her. She wasn't a friend, committed suicide. Mm-hmm. She was somebody who had been struggling with dependency and stuff like that. And she tried a couple business, and I know a couple of my friends have reached out and tried to help her. And that just kills me because I know that this person had 2 children. They were loved by many. And so I really believe that something's got to change in the area of not just mental health, but brain health. What are your thoughts about what we could be doing in our world to help people be less afraid to go get help for the brain? Because it's part of your body.
I would say that would be to drop the stigma.
Yeah.
I think that's accepting that everyone has poor brain health at one time or another. Mm-hmm. And we're all to some degree mentally ill. I think to be, you know, to err is to be human, you know, and I think that, you know, when we accept that other people are struggling and that no one is alone in their struggle and every struggle is unique, and we start acting out of love because we genuinely want the world to be brighter and sweeter as part of one of your missions, and that's where we will make progress in brain health and mental health. And, you know, another thing is nutrition. You know, I think, I mean, I'm not a huge expert on nutrition, but I think that the things that we put into our body are a big part of our brain wellness.
I think so too. And speaking of nutrition, we had a really good lunch today.
We did. I've never had someone make such a great lunch for me in a long time. Thank you. And twice lately.
Yeah, so that's right. Because we had but so I've really been focused on that. We've been talking about that is nutrition because I'm really aware of it. You're younger than me. So when you get older, you really start thinking about it. I'm 65. So I'm thinking about all the hacks to be young. To continue to grow. And I want to be able to not have to end up in a nursing home. I want to end up just going out with a blaze of glory. I just want to be running one day when I'm 110 years old and just go, you know, so I'm really, so if we're talking about nutrition and we talk about the things that we want to do. Is there anything right now, business wise and personal wise, that you really have been wanting to do but you haven't done, and why? Can you think of anything? Business or personal, or both?
Okay, business-wise, something that I really want to do is have a physical building for a podcast studio. I want a building and have people come to me, you know?
So maybe we should work on trying to buy a building together. You heard it here, y'all.
That's a spark.
Yeah, there's a spark. There's a spark to get a fire going. So that's the business. That's a great one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I thought about that too. I would love, because right now we do it on my bed. We do it in my condo. We go to people. We love, if I could see a picture of all these things you're lugging around, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool, wouldn't it?
That'd be awesome.
It'd be all fancy. I could decorate it.
Oh, I would love that.
It would be
You could get a set designer.
Oh my God. I am good.
That is a job.
I just discovered something I'm good at.
Yeah, you're set designer.
Dadgummit, I am a good set designer. Mm-hmm. Dang, dog. I learned it right here, right now.
How about that?
That's funny. Because I love stuff like that. I love to decorate. I love set design and stuff like that. But I still wish I could sing and all that stuff. But so, is there anything personal that you wish you could do that you hadn't done, and why?
And I think a lot of folks are like, I'm going to travel. I want to travel the world, but I have financial limitations. You know, it's 2024 where a lot of people are struggling economically, but like a lot of things, you know, I'm prioritizing, you know, maybe having that podcast studio one day. Also maybe, you know, I'm also prioritizing just paying my rent, to be honest.
Funny thing, rent and groceries and all that fun stuff.
Oh, there's things.
That's been harder for me too, because I will be honest with you. You know this about me because I've talked about it on my podcast before, that have not been real good in the past with money. So I'm really working on that. I'm reading books like You're a Badass with Money with Jen Sincero.
Yeah.
She is wonderful. Read any of her books. She's wonderful. So I've been doing that. I've been trying to read all the books about that because that's something that I can no longer just say I'm not good at it and not get good at it. I have a responsibility to become better at it, because the last few years have been not a struggle, but I have financial challenges.
Mm-hmm.
I've had challenges last year. And to be quite frank with you, I probably have the challenges because I wasn't smart before.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? It's not in a vacuum. So I'm trying to get better about that. I mean, and I'm also trying not to beat myself up for not being better at it. But that's something. Do you have anything like that you're not real good at that you say, hey, I wish I'd get better at that? See, mine's finances, not procrastinating, following through, like I was writing my books. Is there anything with you that keeps coming back to you keep going, oh, I wish I could get better at that?
I would say probably my tendency to get easily overwhelmed. I get overwhelmed very easily, and I stress my own self out by the things I tell myself. I make a mountain out of a molehill, as my mom would say.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm going to get better about not getting overwhelmed and, you know, just take a breath and, you know, kind of treat myself a little more kindly, because see, we've sort of talked about this before, is you'll do and do and do for other people, but meanwhile you're like struggling down in a hole or something.
Yes. I have. Well, I think we talked that with Brittany when I had my podcast, Brittany, toxic giving or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, I've definitely been guilty of that.
Yeah.
But you just made me think of something too about the overwhelm. I'm the opposite. It takes a lot to overwhelm me. And because it does, by the time I get to that point, I'm really in trouble. And that's where I found myself Sunday night, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Sunday night, I just said, I can't keep doing this. Something's got to give. I realized I was mentally and emotionally, physically in a place where, and that's why I wrote that blog the next day,
Mm-hmm.
that I had to do something. I had to just one day at a time, go back to my roots, go back to my basics, and not let myself take on too much. You know, I keep piling on. So I'm working on that. I'm 65. So I don't want to discourage you. I don't want you to think you'll be 65. You'll still be struggling. It's not struggling. I think we're constantly growing.
Yeah.
Constantly learning to become a better version of ourselves.
That's a good reframe.
Yeah. So that's what I'm working on. So
what do you think folks are going to like the new format of being just once a week as opposed to, I mean, I know the more the better, but we're putting out longer episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it'll be well received?
I think so. I think some people are kind of resisting a little bit. I'm resisting it a little bit, which is why I went rogue this morning and did a live that did sideways. But yeah, that's another story. But I think that what I'm going to do is blend a little bit of this with that. Maybe do a little lives every now and then.
That'd be great.
Little spontaneous things. That way we can have our cake and eat it too. I think people, once they get used to it, will like it. And they can just all my stuff's out there still.
Yeah.
All the stuff, what she started producing is
Hundreds of hours.
out there. Many. You have any idea how many episodes?
Oh my gosh. I'm saying I think that we are close to, oh my goodness, probably about 300 or 400.
Yeah.
A lot, because we did 3 a week.
Yeah.
For the first 3 seasons.
And that was from gathering from the 5
yeah.
week that I was doing.
We did 3 out of 5 a week, and even all 5 got used. It was just how we scheduled it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of wild. So, so I think some people miss it, and they like that daily.
Mm-hmm.
They like that daily pick me up, you know. So one thing I am going to get better about doing is I do write a blog every week. I try to send it out with all my happy asses every Monday. Every now and then I get messed up and forget to do it, but I'm trying to get better about that. I'm trying. Seth Godin, writes a blog every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every day.
Without fail.
Without fail. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe that'll be something I do. That I'll get to writing more, so that it can at least have it something there. So I don't know. But I really do love this. When you asked, what do I want to do for the rest of this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, like I said. Makes me very happy. I never think it never feels like work, I love doing what I do. I love mentoring people, but I'm just not that much about money. I'm not that much about working and getting a paycheck and stuff like that. I want to do something that's it sounds so silly, but I just want to change my world for the better. And I hope that this new format does that. I hope that we have a lot more listeners. I don't know. I hope I learn a lot along the way. How about you? What you think?
I hope we have the right listeners. I think that it's quality over quantity. There's a famous essay. It's called 1,000 True Fans. That you only need 1,000 people to really be with you and nourish those people and build loyalty. So my hope is you already have a loyal audience. I just hope that I could help you nourish them more.
Cool. I love that, Ashley. I've loved this time with you.
Yes,
so I'm trying to think. I have some other things written down I want to ask you. We talked about marketing. We talked about grace. The other thing that I want to ask you is one thing that's really sweet that I've enjoyed with you is I've kind of lived vicariously through you and you don't know it, but I have, is like, I no longer have my husband and he was so sweet. Oh my God. You would never, ever, ever hear me say an unkind word about that man. And sometimes you hear people, oh man, oh lady, and you hear people being unkind to each other. I really love that about you. I've never met Raymond. I've never met your sweet man, but you always speak so kindly about him. And it's a nice thing.
Well, Raymond is the love of my life.
Yeah. You cheered up. You didn't cheer up at all until then. But I know what that's like. I know what that feels like. Because you know why I know what that feels like? It goes back to what you said a while ago. You said you were in that bad relationship. I too was in a bad relationship. Horrible relationship. Felt horrible about myself. I felt lonely in my own home. And I wasn't alone.
Yeah.
But I felt so lonely in my own home. When Hugh Smith came into my life, he just changed my world.
Isn't that amazing?
Changed my world. And I see that with Raymond. So, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no.
But that's okay.
This is authenticity.
That's right. But that goes to show you the power of a loving relationship. And I want to use this moment to say to women out there and say to men out there, if you are not in a relationship where you are kind and respectful and adoring and honoring of each other, that's not a relationship. It's not a relationship.
No.
And you need to do something different. And I see that out there sometimes. I hear people fussing at each other, yelling at each other. We did not do that. And I suspect you don't do that either. So I want people to hear what I'm saying to them. Please love yourself enough to want for yourself the best in people the best in situations and all that thing. Man, this is a good place to end.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to get your goat, but it's a good,
It's a good goat. It really is.
It's good getting your goat.
They're happy tears.
They're very happy. They're grateful tears.
Yes.
There's nothing better than grateful tears. You know what else I'm grateful for? I'm grateful for you.
Well, I'm grateful for you too. I'm not just saying it.
I'm so grateful. And together, in collaboration, we are going to do far more together than we could have ever done.
That's right.
Ever done. What do I say when I end it?
Be sweet, y'all.
Be sweet, y'all. Bye.
Bye.